greatest names from show business and the arts.
City Lights on Location traveled to New York City to meet with Academy Award-winning actor Art Carney. We talked about his starring role with Lily Tomlin in Robert Benton's film The Late Show, and their hope to do a sequel to the film The Late, Late Show. We also talked with Carney, who reminisced about his visits to Toronto and performing at the O'Keefe Centre, and his work with co-stars George Burns and Lee Strasberg in the new comedy drama Going in Style. City Lights on Location returns in a moment with Art Carney.
Look at, you've been what?
Looking at a scene from Going in Style. Before...
That's all right.
Okay?
Yep.
Before I talk about you, your friends George Burns and Lee Strasberg, I hope it's not too late to thank you for that spectacular performance in Letters to Frank and your work with Maureen Stapleton and what the two of you created, which was so memorable and such an extraordinarily clear love story. I think your work is wonderful, but I thought that that television movie was so moving, and the two of you obviously had a rapport, and I want to thank you for the television movie.
I'm just going to sit back here and not say anything for about 30, 45 seconds. I didn't see it.
Really?
I saw some of the dailies, you know, the rushes. But up where I live in a little small town up in Connecticut, we didn't get it through our channel, even though we've got cable and all that. And I wanted very much to see it because I enjoyed doing it so much, working with her and the director, Eddie Perron, and the man that, isn't it terrible? Must be a sign of getting old. The man that played my older brother.
I know who you mean. As we go along, I'll think of it and I'll remind both of us. But the reason I bring that up...
Margaret Hamilton, who played my mother. A great cast and a great bunch.
Yeah.
And and a great section of country in Vancouver. We had everything going for us. Brian, we had snow, we had rain, we had sunlight, we had everything. We had Christmas trees, we had the works, you know. He was watching out, you know. And I'm going to see it someday.
Lou Ayres.
Lou Ayres, yeah. It was originally in the All Quiet on the Western Front.
That's right.
And that beautiful role that he portrayed in that.
It's a reminder, you know, for a lot of people, because actors always have images that are imposed on them by people other than themselves because something succeeds. And there are great cliches in show business, like all you need to succeed in this business is one good break after another. But you have to make them yourself. And whether you've been picking up Tony Awards or Emmy Awards, it's performances and things like Letters to Frank that remind people that you are indeed the dramatic actor who was talked about in plays like The Rope Dancers.
Yeah.
Because there's
you go way back, don't you? The Rope Dancers, that was done in 1956, I think. Did you see it?
No, but I know all about it.
Yeah. That was a strong play.
A lot of good work.
Yeah, thank you.
You were asking me about Toronto, and you know about the O'Keefe Centre.
Yeah, we played lovers there.
That's right. That's right. And the Royal Alexandra Theatre. It's a beautiful theatre.
Yeah. That O'Keefe Centre, I thought when we came in there, and I looked around before we did the first rehearsal, to get the feel of the house and everything. And I saw this big house. I said, to myself, we are going to lay a very large bomb. And I'm looking over this huge, because the Lovers was a very intimate two-act play. The response on opening night, and from there on, we played it, I don't know, a week or 10 days, was so beautiful, was so responsive, and so with it. They got everything, you know, the audience did. And I was wrong. Thankfully, I was wrong. I thought we'd be lost. I thought, one and out. And they dug it, you know. They dug the meaning, the sensitivity of the play, the humor, everything. They got it. And it's great to hear, you know, from our vantage point, from the stage, in a huge house like that, and two intimate little plays coming at you like that. It was just beautiful. That's why I have some very fond memories of the O'Keefe and that wonderful hotel we stayed at where everything was hot in room service.
The Royal York Hotel.
Yeah.
Still there.
It's still good, I hope.
Why don't you come back and find out?
I did. I was there last few years ago when we did an Ed Sullivan show, Ed Sullivan production show with the Muppets, a Christmas show. I didn't stay at the Royal York. We stayed...
King Edward.
Inn of the Park.
Oh, the Inn of the Park.
Yeah.
Out. You're working at CFTO?
Television, yeah.
Yes. City Lights on Location will return in a moment with Art Carney and a scene from Going in Style right after this. Because of the theater work, and because of the really diverse number of people you have worked with, film, stage, television, when you find yourself acting with a man like Lee Strasberg, and you know that a whole world of actors out there, many of whom you have worked with, regard him as some kind of teaching god, did it affect or change your approach to acting when you had scenes with Lee Strasberg? Did you ever think, yeah, I know you're acting too, Strasberg, but you're looking at my acting? Was there any sense of the teacher?
Brian, I think I did at the beginning, maybe, for a short while, because I couldn't let that happen for the duration of the picture, or I would have been bothered by it. I've been self-conscious. Lee, in no way at all, took over the director's part or saying, do this. Or do, I was not, in other words, I was not conscious of playing a scene with Lee that he was telling me what to do or how to do it. Or he was looking at me with some kind of an eye that, no, don't move your hand over here, move it over here. But we had a couple of very close scenes in the picture where I held his hand when he was dying, and where he tells me about his little boy, how he spanked him and everything, and I'm the observer, I'm listening. After that scene, which was his scene, granted that you've got to be a good listener. To be a good actor, you've got to be a good listener. When that scene was over, and they got the final take, and we did it many times, he took my hand and gave it a squeeze, just like that. Like, you help me. He didn't say anything. He just grabbed my hand and squeezed it like that, which meant to me, you helped me out by being there, by looking at you. Now that, he didn't have to say anything. That was the biggest compliment, I think, that I received in that picture while I was acting. Burns, there's another fella. I've known him for a number of years. I never worked with him before. I think we probably had a little bit more in common than Lee and I did. I'd only met Lee once or twice. Burns I'd known for a number of years. Burns was never at a loss for something to say that was... Burns never says anything that isn't funny. Oh, I mean, he says beautiful, sensitive things that... I got a little candid picture of him, and I can see him. Did I do my impersonation? He's saying, you know, this is a prop, you know, the cigar. Don't show this to your wife, Art. I love you very much. He signed that on the picture. Don't show this to your wife, Art. I love you very much. George. This man has so much warmth and so much patience, so much sensitivity, and so much brashness on the other hand. You know, when you want him to be honest, say, George, say something funny. Where are my handkerchiefs? I mean, anything he says is funny. I called him on the phone once out in California. I said, George, we're going to have dinner, aren't we? Yeah, I got to go to Nashville. What are you going to Nashville, George? I got to cut a record. I got my pants on, I might as well go. I got my pants on, I might as well go. Where does it come from? I said, George, how many years have you lived in that house on Maple Avenue? Gracie and I moved here 42, 43 years ago. I know where my handkerchiefs are. Why should I move? I don't know where it comes from. Now, he's probably said that to how many people? It's the first time he said it to me, and I broke up. I got my pants on, I might as well go. When somebody, somebody else says that, it's not funny.
It's timing, isn't it?
Timing, yes.
And you appreciate it because you've had it. I mean, you couldn't have done what you did with Gleason without timing.
No,
The movement of the head, the movement of an arm that got a laugh.
That's comedy. Yeah, that's timing.
And George Burns has perfected it. And with that cigar, he puffs and lets you laugh.
He waits. It's like Benny. Wait. Don't be afraid of the pregnant pause. Wait, hold it. They'll laugh. If they don't laugh, wait for them. You know, with a Benny, with that wonderful thing he did, he could, for 2 minutes, stand there like this. And if they didn't laugh right off the bat, he'd wait. And then they'd build up, you know. Biggest compliment I can pay to anybody like Burns, or Benny, or Durante, or Fred Allen is that there's no carbon copy, that there's only one. Nobody imitates, well, they imitate Benny, but nobody takes the place of Benny or George Burns or Durante. There's only one. You can do all this and that, you can do, but you'll never take the place.
When you talk about compliments, Art, I want to share one with you, about you. Because I was recently sitting with a friend of yours who had written her book, Elizabeth Ashley. And Elizabeth Ashley was telling stories, as you know perfectly well from her book, about the people she loved and the people she hated. And nobody probably recently has written a book that had you turning pages faster thinking, my God, what is she going to reveal next about herself? But there is such a feeling of love for you and that whole situation on Broadway of doing Take Her, She's Mine. And your experiences on Broadway and her inability to deal with the pressures and the problems of show business. And you at a time when you had to deal with your own pressures and problems, helping her through.
Well, Brian, she was very receptive to me one particular night, which she mentions in her book. I was troubled, but whatever way you want to put it. Had a little sauce. I was troubled. I wanted to talk to somebody. And I called her up, and it was quite late, and she said, come on up, we'll talk. We talked, and I was drunk. She listened. I liked her. She was my daughter in the play. I didn't make a play for her. But I wanted to be with her. And she was a very good listener. And some years later, when I read the book, it's very kind to me, I never really thought that she cared that much for me. It was very... during the run of the play, I thought she was a spoiled kid. I helped her out many times in whatever way I could. I thought she was just spoiled. I used to get very mad at her sometimes. I don't think I let her know. One night I sulked on stage. I sulked. Which is not very professional. I said, bring her out of this thing, Get her with me. Let me hug her. Let me hug my daughter. She carried on beautifully, but that one night I'll never forget when she listened to me, and I needed to be listened to. And she was a kid, and I was a father. Nothing was said after that. A hug and a kiss, and that's it. And, until I read about it in the book. It was very nice, very sweet. She's a good kid.
I agree. I like her.
Yeah, she's something.
City Lights on Location will return in a moment with Art Carney right after this.
Right.
Thank you.